Welcome back to the stitch wheel. How are you getting on? Do let me know in the comments box below. We've moved on now to padded satin stitch, and sometimes you want your satin stitch to be a bit more raised or sort of stand out a bit from the surface. And this is an example here with my Lady in the African Sun, where I've actually done 2 layers of padded satin stitch, one that way and the second layer the other way on top. It's a good idea when you've got a larger shape to cover because you make sure that there's no gaps showing underneath, but also, as I said, when you want it to look a bit more rounded or raised from the surface. So let me demonstrate that on the wheel. I've drawn here a little clover shape, and yes, you've guessed it, I've outlined it in split backstitch. Now I've done my first layer of satin stitch here so that you can see what it looks like, and I've done it inside the split backstitch. So instead of going outside, you're going to go inside. So start in the middle of the shape, and we're not going to angle it this time, we're just going to do straight stitches, literally up and down. It doesn't matter if you want to start at the top, that's fine, and just nudge them inside. So it's the same stitch as we did on the moon shape. So you're going one way and filling all those gaps there. One more. And then I'm going to take my thread, you can weave it at the back to where I started and fill in here. Now obviously you're looking not to leave any gaps, but if you find that you have left a gap, don't worry too much as long as it's not a massive one, because we're going to do 2 more layers on this. So that's my first layer complete. I'm going to show you my second layer now, and because I did the first layer vertically, the second layer is going to be horizontal, again inside the split back stitch. So it doesn't matter which way you go first. Just do one more that side. I can see a gap there, so I am going to cover it, but it would be fine to leave it as well. So again, aiming for inside your split back stitch. Now on this one here, I've done the first layer horizontally, so my second layer would be vertical. But I'm going to do the final layer now on this one, and come up now outside of your split back stitch vertically on this one here. Now, if you've drawn, as I have, your clover shape where these two lines touch, then don't worry, come up on the outside on one of them only. You obviously haven't got two lines there, so I just want to show you how it works, so that the final layer only is going to be on the outside of that split back stitch. And obviously with your final layer you want to make really sure that it looks pristine. There's a gap there, so I'm going to cover it. Right, so then you take your thread to the back and start again on that side. So these should now look quite knobbly in shape. So that's my first little part of the clover. So I'd now go back and do a second row on this one vertically like that, and then the third row would go horizontally. So I'm going to go and finish these two clover leaves. I thought we'd done with leaves, but there you go. And then I will show you what that looks like when it's completely finished. So that's my padded satin stitch complete. If you wanted to make these look more like flower petals, you could put a few little French knots in the middle in a different colour, but I'm going to leave mine as it is. So what shall we do next? Well, I think we're going to do some spider's web stitch, which will involve some weaving. So join me for that.